I'd blame the defender for not looking for that rebound and making sure they were covering the player that was coming into the box.
We change from that original formation to almost like a 4-3-3, an attacking 4-3-3.
And we're not going to put two of them on from the start and just leave one on the bench, are we? So they need to get another striker.
Within 20 yards of that goal, I don't care how you do it, toe punt it, side foot it, back heel it, get it in the net, wallop it.
Hello and welcome back to another episode of Stoke Fan TV with myself, Max.
And me, Sam.
And Sam. And in today's video, we've got a special guest for you, the man, myth and legend that is Alan May. But first, just want to say thanks to everybody who's been liking and subscribing to the channel. If you haven't already, hit the like on this video, pause it, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. You won't regret it. Well, I say that. You know, you never know. You never know. You might regret it. You might be like, oh my God, I'm addicted now to Stoke Fan TV every week. Anyway, right, in today's show, as I said, we're going to have Alan joining us. So welcome, Al. Where is he? He's down here on the laptop.
I'm here. Hello. How are you both?
I'm very well. How are you?
I'm very well too, thank you.
Excellent. Well, as I say, Al's here, Sam's here, and we're going to be discussing what went wrong at Watford. Obviously, second game of the season. Is it all panic stations? Do we need to start worrying, stressing? Or, as I said, first few games of the season, is it just what it is? So, let's start by asking whoever wants to go first. Al, Sam, what went wrong at Watford?
Go on, Al.
Well, let's put it like this. First half, I thought we were okay. Now, we had a couple of chances in the first 15 minutes, which we should have buried, which would have changed the whole concept of the game. Now, I have this issue. As much as I love the manager, and I do like him, I'm really keen on him. I have this issue that he tends to keep some of the better players on the bench until the second half. My theory is always start with your best team, even if you've got players coming back from injury like Jeannot. He could have come on in the first half, started the game, and had an impact, and Baker and people like that. What annoys me is, as much as I like the idea of going in at half-time 0-0, we came out in the second half and it was like, what's he said to the team? Because it was like men against boys. We just really didn't stand a chance against these big 6-footers who came on with their bloody sleeves rolled up and the biceps out. And it just looked like men against boys. We've got these big strapping midfielders and attackers against 18, 19-year-olds, and it just looked odd. And it felt odd, and it was like 2 quick goals in 5 minutes. And it was like 1-0 down. I thought, oh, we've got a chance. And then, lo and behold, second one's in, and it was like game over. There was no way we were ever going to come back from that. And then 20 minutes to go, he makes a couple of decent, in my opinion, changes. But when you saw the impact Jeannot had for the last, say, 20, 25 minutes, if he'd have been on at the start with those 25 minutes, we may have gone 1 up, 2 up.
Yeah.
But I do think with the team, the out and out issue is an attacker or a goal scorer, should I say, really. And I just think, look, win, lose or draw, they're my team. I'll support them, whatever. But when you watch it and you sit on the sideline and you think, well, I would have done it this way. We're all managers in our own parts, aren't we? But there must be a reason. And he did the same at Carlisle, where we could have been 3 down, even though we had 3 good chances in the first half ourselves. They played like a brilliant team. Like I said to Sam, they were on the back of a 4-1 drilling at Gillingham. And they came out and could have easily popped in 2 or 3 goals. And again, we put the better players on late on. But having said that, we had a couple of young uns that started at Carlisle that could have started, like Anderson in defence. What a great player. What a real prospect. And yet he scored a goal. He's tall. Ball in the box, put it on the head. It's 1-0 up. Why didn't we start him? I don't know. It just seems something's missing. It's early days. Look, it's early days.
It's early days, isn't it?
Well, it is. I mean, my theory is everyone's going, oh, crikey, we've got Middlesbrough in the cup. We've got Middlesbrough in the cup. Oh, my God, they beat Leeds 3-0. They actually made Leeds look poor. And I said to Sam earlier, when I watched that game the other night, Leeds in the first 20 minutes, bang, 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 bang. They could have been 3 up, but Middlesbrough defended very well, and Leeds run out of ideas, and that was the difference. We can beat Middlesbrough. We beat them at their place quite often, and I don't see it as an issue. West Brom we've got coming up. They played Leeds, and I watched that game at the weekend, albeit on the TV. And I just thought Leeds defended well again, but they had no ideas. West Brom couldn't break down a good defence. Build your team from the back, good defence, and I think we've got a chance of getting 3 points on Saturday as well. But what went wrong at Watford, in my opinion, he started with the wrong team. And whatever changes he made late on, I feel he should have started with some of the players that he brought on as subs.
Yeah. Well, you've got an absolutely very good point there, Al. Sam, what do you think? You watched the game as well.
Yeah. Well, you said before in the preview that it's going to be a battle in the middle of the park. Watford, their formation completely dominated the midfield, and we couldn't get a look in the midfield, and it made our midfield look really poor, to be honest with you.
Absolutely. Well, the funny thing about Stoke, and I'll let Al in on this as well and see what he thinks. So, lineup-wise, when you look at the Stoke formation, okay, on paper, that lineup, one, obviously, 4 at the back, 2 in front of that, 3 and a striker. But when you watch that game and you watch us play Watford, Watford came out with a different lineup to us, obviously. They played with 3 at the back, 4 then across the midfield, effectively 2 number 10s, and a striker. And where I think the game was won and lost was in the areas where their number 10s could exploit the space that our midfield was leaving by changing the formation as the game went on. And what I mean by that is if you have a look, let's say, at our average player positions during that game, and you look at Stoke's average player positions, the lineup doesn't match what was on paper going into it. And what actually happened, if you watch, is when we attack, what we do is we drop Thompson into that central defensive midfielder, we push Laurent up with Baker, and effectively we change from that original formation to almost like a 4-3-3, an attacking 4-3-3, which is fine. And I don't mind attacking like that. But then you have to get the transition right when the other team grab the ball and counter. And what we didn't do was have that player then in that central defensive midfield role next to Thompson, and their 2 number 10s completely ran us ragged. I think it was, just looking here, their number 8, which, by the way, good luck pronouncing this because it's spelled Chakvedtadze. So number 8, we'll call him. He had a hell of a game, all right? And I think just looking down at his stats now, so he had 47 touches. Okay, and he was involved in all of the goals pretty much. And the other number 10 that was playing in there, okay, he scored 2 of the goals.
Yeah.
So if you ask me, the game there, right in the middle of the park, I mean, what was the game plan for going forward? I mean, as Al's alluded to there, we've arguably got our best attacking midfielder in the centre of the park on the bench in Baker. To me, in my opinion, I think Laurent, don't get me wrong, I think Laurent's a good player. But going forward, I'd much rather have Baker in there taking shots from distance. That's just my 2-piece, and that's where I think we've probably lost the game.
Well, you've nailed it, Max. I mean, the biggest problem I've got is the formation. I'm not a fan of one up front, never have been.
No.
It's you're doomed for disaster. But I'm a fan of 4-4-2, and I don't, or even 3-5. You know what I mean? You need to have a solid midfield. We were bullied in the midfield. You're right. Bloke had 47 touches. We couldn't get the ball.
No.
We couldn't get the ball. They made us look like school kids. And, Watford aren't the most skillfulest teams, but they knocked it around well. They kept possession. But they were a team of big 6-foot strapping blokes, and we had a team of young, skinny lads. And you've got the likes of Tesgal. As much as I like him, and he's been good in the reserves and stuff, I don't think he's quite ready to take on a team like Watford, in my opinion.
He had 15 touches. Tesgal did. Al. He had 15 touches, and that's
What's that? Just one every 9 minutes?
Well, the other thing as well about him is when you look at when you look at him and his heat map, and you look at where he was on the pitch, it's difficult because he wasn't in where I'd expect him to be. I'd have thought,
No,
looking
and
at his heat
totally
map,
right. He was a chaser
yeah,
rather than a thinker. And look, I'm not going to put him down. He's a good lad, and
he is.
he has scored a few goals, and I like him. But I think he's a division lower at this moment in time. I think he's a Division One player, and I think with another season under his belt, he might get a little bit stronger. Look, he's the type of player that ain't going to score for Stoke against Watford. But if he played for Leeds United, he'd probably get 20 goals a season.
Mm.
And it's all about the way they press. You, like I was mentioned earlier against the Middlesbrough game, they could have been 3-0 up in 10 minutes. They annihilated that box, but they didn't have someone who could pop the ball in. And he's got that skill. Somebody like him, and they were looking at Tesco at the beginning of the season, someone to purchase. Whether that came off, it obviously didn't, but whether they're still thinking about it, you know, there's loads of rumours. They're after Million, they're after Tesco, they're after everybody, aren't they? Because they're not winning. But with a goal scorer, they're 3-0 up. And I just don't see it with our team because we don't press the way a team like Leeds or even Middlesbrough would press. We need two players going forward all the time. Stoke City, we're a team. We love wingers, don't we? Give me a winger all day. Terry Conroy, Mark Chamberlain, players of old who could run down the wing, whip the ball in. I mean, it's simple football, and sometimes I think we're missing the plot. We're too hung up about stats and all this sort of stuff instead of thinking like you would think if you were on the park this afternoon, Max, and you think, right, I need to get in the box because Sam's down the wing and he's whipping that ball in, whether it's high for the head or hard and low, and I can get a touch. I've got the opportunity to score. Ted nailed it the other week. He said they score one, you've got to score two. It's so important to get that first goal. We all know that. We're all football fans. Not trying to teach people to suck eggs, but it's the frustration of being a Stoke fan when we can sit and watch a game and we analyse it and we think, would I have done it like that? Well, no, I wouldn't. Would I have started that 11? No, I'd have had Baker on. I'd have put Jeannot on. Even though he's come back, I'd have played him for 20 minutes. Maybe we can get that first goal. And if I have to bring him off, so be it. And then I'll put somebody on at the back and we'll hold on to the lead. It might be boring football, it might not be attractive, but we'll hold on to it and we get the 3 points. You know, if we'd have won on Saturday, 6 points in the bag, we're right up there, aren't we? And then we've got the momentum to keep going forward and pushing for the next 3 points, like I do believe we'll get against West Brom. And again, they've got some big lads, so we need to contend their big players, and that's going to be the downfall of us if we don't mark and match their tall strikers and their midfielders with power and thought process, where we can switch the play and pass the ball neatly and precisely. We've got problems.
I think. It's a tough one in regards to. I get exactly what you mean about getting the ball into that box. You know, how do Stoke incorporate more of the old Stoke in a way at times? Getting the ball into the box. Obviously, Lyndon Gooch, having him on the wing. Do you know what? As I've been critical of him, he can put the ball in the box very well. There was something clear in that Watford game. When you look at it, there was this a plan of attack to go down their our right wing, down their left-hand side. You know, if you look at Million Manhoof and you look at his where he was running on the pitch, he spent half his time camped out there. Same with Laurent. Laurent's heading in that direction as well.
Yeah, but Max, Mill was on the right hand side. He got two players, maybe three, around him at every opportunity. They knew he was our key player. Gooch had some opportunities on the left, as you say, but Million, his game was over the moment they kicked it off because they were round him like flies.
Well, that's what I mean. They were all over him, but that was definitely. I think there was a Stoke plan was to try and go down that wing for whatever reason. I mean, going forward, Sam, you've been quite vocal about strikers.
Yeah,
how would you approach the situation and kind of maybe maybe getting Stoke scoring more goals for a starter?
Well, Gallagher's out for a couple of months, I've heard. I agree with Al on Tesgal. I'd love to see Tesgal in the Stoke team scoring goals, and I believe that he has got the ability to do that for Stoke, just granted not at the minute. And Yes, he probably is a League One player at the minute. I'd like to see him scoring 20 goals a season for League One to get a team promoted up to the Championship. And if he can do that, then he's ready to play in the Championship. But 3 goals at MK Dons in 15 games in the League One does not suggest to me that he's going to be able to score more than 3 goals in the Championship for Stoke.
Well, say we want to play with more than one striker up front, chaps. Who's going to fill those boots? Who's going to play? Who's going to play and play well for Stoke?
He's going to have to sign someone.
Is Tesgal not good enough with another player up there? Would that not completely change his game? Would he have more space? You got to think you got another striker up there that's constantly making runs. That drags the centre back out the way. All of a sudden, it's not one striker versus 2 centre backs.
If we went 3-5-2, which is what I'd do, I'd play the same formation that they played against us at the weekend. It's possible that would work, but we've only got 3 fit strikers at the minute. If May's fit, Ennis and Tesgal, and we're not going to put 2 of them on from the start and just leave 1 on the bench, are we? So they need to get another striker.
Right. Do you
We
think
should never have we should never have let Jacob Brown go, and we certainly shouldn't have let Tyrese go and join Sheffield United. Tyrese with somebody, this Kumas from Liverpool, the young lad, he looked promising, and he looked like he got pace, and he wasn't afraid to shoot. But with the right service, he could be the man. Friend of mine, Liverpool fan, he sings his praises left, right, and centre.
Okay.
And he said he's going to be a star of the future. So maybe he'll cut it as Stoke. Maybe he'll do it for us. Who knows? I don't know. So I've just noticed Portsmouth have just signed a Borussia Dortmund defender, so they're spending money.
Right.
Some guy called Fabio. So teams like Pompey, you'd think they're going to be down the bottom like Plymouth. I don't think so. They're going to be a top 10 side.
Yeah, we're going to see a lot of surprises like we always do in the Championship. Can we just touch on the goals we conceded against Watford? Because obviously, I didn't think they were particularly good goals to concede.
No,
really.
a lot of people are going to try and blame Johansson for them rebound goals, but I wouldn't personally. I'd blame the defender for not looking for that rebound and making sure they were covering the player that was coming into the box. Well, I wouldn't blame Johansson one bit for any of it, to be completely honest with you. I think Johansson had a good game.
Okay. What do you think? How do you think is Johansson?
I agree with Sam on that. At the end of the day, he's there between the sticks. He's got 3 or 4 blokes in front of him. They're not doing the job and thinking outside the box to clear the ball out of the box. Then you can't blame the keeper.
I mean, like obviously the goals. When you look back at them again, what I was saying earlier, they were all come from that space in where the 2 defensive midfielders, as we normally defend, that transition hasn't happened, and it come from that. Yes, it's gone out wide and it's gone into the box. Yes, we haven't defended it particularly well when it's gone into the box, but
how many times they ripped us apart? You were sitting there going, they're walking all over us. We can't get the ball. They're going to score. Lo and behold, ball's in the net.
Yeah.
Oh, hang on, another one. Oh, when's the 3rd coming? That's what I thought. I thought we ain't coming back from this. No chance. We couldn't get the ball. You look at the period of play, they were knocking it about left, right, and centre. Our boys were running after them and getting nothing, and they looked tired.
The positive to take out of it, though, is the first half was very even, and it's mainly the second half where we made the. I'd take positives from the first half.
We had 2 chances in the first half. We had the Tesgal shot and the Million shot. They were both good efforts. Realistically, one of those should have been in the back of the net. Then it's a different game. But for the rest of the game, for 30 minutes, I didn't even think we were in it in the first half. I thought we clawed out a nil apiece for the first half. We clawed that. But I think they looked at what we were about. I don't know what the manager said to our lads at half time and who was coming on and who was coming off. But Watford must have gone, we've got these. These are a bunch of kids. We can turn these over, no problem. And they did. And they did it very quickly and very professionally. And, you're up against a team. They almost look like basketball players, didn't they? They're all big and muscly. You see the guy come on, he's got his biceps going on. And it was like intimidation. I just thought, this is just something. I said it earlier on, there's just something missing. Who knows what it is? Decent midfield. Always start with your best players. Get a new striker in. I know we're looking at 2 at the moment. We can get one of them boys in, we might have an opportunity. But I don't think 18 and 19-year-old kids are going to cut it. We need a bit of experience. in the midfield, and we also need a striker who's probably mid-20s who can actually bang the ball in the back of the net.
I mean, we've been crying out for it for ages, haven't we? We've been crying out for striker. We've been crying out for somebody who can put the ball in the back of the net. I think let's not take anything away from Watford as well. I think Watford are a good outfit, and I think they're going to do well this season. I thought they are an attacking team, and they came out and they attacked. And if you look at, I know I said it before, our average position. If you look at their average positions throughout the games, pretty much the formation they started, they all knew what they were doing. Yeah. Tom Cleverley's got them very well organised. They looked like a good unit. Now, obviously, when they attack, they're going to maybe concede from time to time, but they looked good against us.
One to watch this year for playoffs, absolutely, definitely.
Chaps, I know we haven't got ages left on the show. Can we quickly just look at going forward? We've obviously got West Brom on the weekend. What are our thoughts about that game?
As I said earlier, they couldn't break a Leeds defence down. They got some big players. They were going forward. Leeds stood up to whatever they'd got. I didn't rate them against Leeds. Having watched Leeds lose at Middlesbrough, they weren't any better. So I'm not overly fussed about Leeds United. We've got them later on. That's fine. But the West Brom game at home with a good support behind us, that our favourite song is "We Always Beat West Brom." Let's turn them over. Let's get the 3 points. I think if we can hold them off with a decent, solid defence and get to that 4-4-2 again, please give me 4-4-2. Don't play it out from the back because we'll get caught out. Hoof it down the park. Get on the end of it. Let's have some runners. Let's attack. When Schumacher came to Stoke, he says, "You're going to see attacking football." That, to me, meant I never want to see a back pass. And that was the story of our seasons for the last 4, 5, 6, 7 years. Playing it back, struggling, 0-0s, 1-0s, and all that rubbish. But at the end of the day, I just think if we can attack, we've got a chance against these boys. But we need to be unafraid of shooting. Mm-hmm. We've got players that can shoot, and we spoke about Million. He can shoot. Tesco can shoot. Baker can shoot.
Baker can shoot, but he's on the bench.
Look, Lauren can't shoot.
No, maybe they won't worry about it.
But even Gucci, he can play a wonderful ball across the park. So let him have a go. If you're on target, fire it in.
And we know.
I always remember the school teacher at school who said, "Look, within 20 yards of that goal, I don't care how you do it, toe punt it, side foot it, back heel it, get it in the net, wallop it. Hard and low, it's going to go somewhere." And I think that's an opportunity we need to look at. Instead of all these fancy bits, let's think about simple football.
Go back to basics. Would you agree with that, Sam? What do you think?
I think if Stoke can play how they did against Coventry, because Coventry are equally as good as West Brom, I think we've got a chance of getting something against West Brom. I think Stoke versus West Brom is always a good day at the Bet365 Stadium. Both fans are always up for it. Be interesting to see. I'm gutted that I can't make it.
No. Well, hopefully, Stoke fans, maybe Al will be at that game, and he'll be milling around. So go up and have a chat with him. He might even take his camera. See if I can convince him to grab a microphone as well. So maybe at that West Brom game, if you see Al around, then go and have a chat with him. Right, chaps. As much as I'd love to carry on chatting with you for the next day, hours, whatever it is, we've got to go because we've got to let people go and have their Friday night dinner. This is when they're coming out Friday night. But anyway, thanks for watching. Stoke fans, what do you make to everything that we've spoken about in that? What do you think about that Watford game? Where did it go wrong? What do you think about the West Brom game going forward? What needs to change? Is this just a bit of a blip? Or are some people worried? Are some people saying, what first 10 games of the season is what it is? Plenty to talk about. Let us know in the comments. So, gentlemen, I'm going to say, I can't just say my usual goodbye from me and him. I've got to say, so that's goodbye from me.
And it's a goodbye from me.
And that's a goodbye from me.
And them as well. We'll see you again soon.